Hello, chefs. This is Chef's PSA Podcast. I'm your host, André Natera. On today's episode, we have the Angry Brunch episode. Stay tuned. So before we get into it, let's talk about how you could support the show. First thing you could do is you could go to chefspsa.com. You get all my books: Culinary Leadership Fundamentals, Kitchen Art of War, Bad Sous, Good Chef, Line Cook Survival Manual, How Not to Be the Biggest Idiot in the Kitchen, and my new one, 50 Most Important Chef's PSAs. I have a bunch of free ebooks as well. For those of you that have been asking, the audiobook for 50 Most Important Chef's PSAs is done. You can go find that on the website. For those of you that prefer to read with your ears versus your eyes, reading old school with your eyes, the audiobook is done. It's not on Audible because I did not publish this book and I'm still unsure if I should publish it or not. So if people want me to publish it, let me know. For those of you that want the paperback version of it, maybe I'll create a limited edition series of it. But as of right now, it's not going to be published. Strictly ebook and audiobook. When I was recording this audiobook, so originally I wanted to do the narration. Obviously I do the podcast, so I know how to edit audio. But when I played it back and listened to myself, so anyway, here's the story. First time I did it, I forgot to turn on the mic. So I read the whole audiobook, and then when I went back to play it, it didn't record anything. So that kind of pissed me off initially. And so then when I re-recorded it and listened to it, it sounded terrible. You know, some people, what people don't understand is for people that are voice actors or read audiobooks, that's a skill. And I quickly realized it's a skill that I do not have. I sound like I did when I was 8 years old, standing up in the middle of class, stumbling, trying to read the words that the teacher wanted me to say, the page out of the book. It's not me. So anyway, it's not my voice. I do a quick little intro, but it's not me. Also at chefspsa.com, you get the merch, this Happy Cook hat, some t-shirts, water bottles, hoodies. Even though hoodie weather is coming to a close, you could get all that. But let's get on to the show. We digress. I could have easily titled this episode 1,000 Reasons Why Chefs Hate Brunch. I almost did. Maybe I will. Who knows? Before we get started, I need to make sure everyone knows fuck brunch. Let's get that out of the way. I absolutely despise brunch. And there's nothing anyone can say in the comments that's going to change my mind. Now, I should say that everywhere I've ever worked, I've served brunch. And I understand it's a good model for a lot of people, and a lot of people do like brunch. A lot of people serve brunch and they're very successful at it. And a lot of people love working that brunch shift and love cooking eggs, and that's you. That's not me. The expression I like to use is there's two types of people that hate brunch and people that are wrong. So there's nothing you're going to say that's going to convince me that I should love brunch, because I don't. Actually, I take that back. The only way I like brunch is when you're cooking it and not me. So I'll go eat your brunch. I just don't want to cook your brunch. How about that? Now, when I said 1,000 reasons why I don't like brunch, or I should say 1,000 reasons why chefs don't like brunch, I literally could probably list 1,000 reasons, but we're not going to get to all those reasons today. For me, the ideal brunch in a restaurant starts at 5 p.m. and serves the dinner menu. That's the best brunch. Starts at 5 p.m., serves dinner. Ideal brunch. I think, like, if you want to be a chef and you're thinking about going to culinary school because you think you're going to go work in these fancy restaurants and get your fancy dishes on the menu and make your special, before you do that, go work a brunch service. Make sure you really like this. Because if you're like me, brunch will make you fall out of love with cooking pretty quick. I'm joking, obviously. But if I had started out at brunch, which actually, now that I think about it, I did start out at brunch. Maybe that's why I don't like brunch so much. When I was a young cook, what we used to do for Sunday brunch is different from what you see a lot of days in today's Sunday brunch world. So it's a smaller menu, egg poachers, and maybe a steak, and there's fries, and there's truffle oil everywhere. But when I started, I was the old school Sunday brunch, which had mirrors and carving stations and chaud-froid and salmon Kubiak and beef Wellingtons and a cake buffet. And the garde-manger used to have to make these mirrors with pâtés and en croûte. That's the brunch that I used to have to do. And we used to have to shine the mirrors up with vinegar. Anyway, maybe that is why I don't like brunch. And a lot of restaurants do serve brunch. And by the way, there is some sarcasm in this, so understand that I do see the business model why people need to have brunch in their restaurant. It does make money. It's an extra meal period. A lot of places are extremely busy for lunch. I should say brunch. You can make a lot of money doing it. It's usually lower food cost for the most part if you've designed a good menu. So I get the case for brunch. So let's get that out of the way. I understand if you're a business owner, you're a restaurant owner, you're a chef that has to do brunch. I understand, but I don't have to like it. So what's the best part about working brunch? I would say probably telling everyone how much you hate brunch. That's the best part. Spending the day complaining about how much you dislike brunch is the best part about working brunch. If you've ever heard of the Ouroboros, which is a dragon or a snake that's consuming its own tail. Sometimes you see it as an infinity symbol. It represents like the cycle of life and death, the Ouroboros. That's brunch. Because a lot of times if you don't have your menu planned well, dinner service suffers because you're prepping for brunch. And so you lose a little bit of your limited team because you have to displace people to go prep up for the brunch service the next day. And then brunch service suffers because you didn't pull enough people off dinner to support brunch. It's like a vicious cycle that people go through. Now, if you're in a kitchen that's staffed up and well prepared, and you have a prep team that's dedicated to that, or all your menu items cross over so you don't need to prep extra for brunch, you're smart. Well done. Congratulations. You're a unicorn. Most people don't do it that way. And by the way, I should add in that one of my favorite songs is Brunch on Sundays by Nas. And that should be the anthem. So I post it on Instagram all the time. That's the anthem. Shout out to Nas and Escobar Cigars. A lot of chefs get caught in their own mind when it comes to creating brunch menus because they think they have to not repeat anything on any other menu. So they prep a menu entirely for the weekend, what I call building a church for Easter Sunday. You wouldn't do that. It's like pulling on an all-nighter for a test that gets called off by 3 p.m. the next day, and then everything gets thrown away in the trash. Like you cram, you study, you prep, you make all this food, and then you don't sell it. You never prep just enough for brunch. You either prepped way too much and you're wasteful, or you didn't prep enough and you ran out of eggs or bacon. And by the way, you only need to run out of eggs or bacon once for brunch to never do that again. I was a chef of a restaurant and we ran out of eggs and spinach, I think. I think it was eggs and spinach for Sunday brunch. And it was like noon. The restaurant's packed and I'm working the expediter. And I had to stop. I had to pull someone in to cover the expediter for me. And I had to run to the grocery store down the street, literally sprinting to get eggs and spinach that we needed for brunch. I wiped them out of eggs. I remember the cashier used to know me. They were laughing because like, oh, brunch. I said, yeah, brunch. You only need to do that one time. I never did it again. Everyone has to make that mistake. If you haven't made that mistake, it's coming. Maybe. I don't know. Hopefully not, but realistically, it probably is. And then you deal with the tired staff. Now, this is assuming that you don't have an AM and PM staff, because a lot of places, they're serving dinner and then they're turning right back around and serving brunch. So it's that clopen. They close and then they open. They're tired. And some of them say, you know what, I'm still going to go out and have a good time tonight. It's Saturday. I'm going to go out. I'll have some drinks. I'm going to be hungover and I'm going to crawl in to work the next day and try and execute brunch service. Wolf of Wall Street style. Or there's that person who did that anyway and then called off. By the way, everyone knows you're lying. You went out with us the night before. Everyone saw you have too many drinks. And then the next day you got a cold. And then you're back Monday and it's like, oh, it's just a 24-hour bug. I guess I'm better. Now, or you're 3 hours late because of traffic. It's like, oh, I hit that 6 a.m. traffic on Sunday. Now I get it. Some people are gonna be like, well, in LA, there's traffic all the time, or whatever city you happen to be in. There's always traffic in my city. True. There's some cities that there's always traffic. But most cities, because not everyone lives in LA, most cities, there's no traffic at 6 a.m. You could make it to work pretty quick. And you could predict the traffic. You're not going to be stuck in traffic for 3 hours. You probably just forgot to set your alarm and no one believes your story. Everyone knows you're lying. No one's going to call you on it. Which I don't know why we don't call people out when everyone knows it. It's like, I know you're lying. You know you're lying. You know I know you're lying, but we're not going to address it. And what happens inevitably during brunch? Brunch is busy. It's chaotic. You don't have enough prep space for your eggs and your pancake batter. And you buy all this inventory that you only need for 2 days a week. And your kitchen's packed. And I don't know why, but brunch service always seems to make the kitchen messier. Like, you'll walk into a kitchen that's typically very clean, but during brunch, like there's broken eggshells on the floor and pancake batter that's spilled in the cooler that someone forgot to clean up. People forget to pull tickets those days. Everyone just looks like they got their ass kicked at the end of brunch service. Now, if you're the PM cook coming in and you see all these people that went through brunch service, like they just got out of a fight from the octagon, they look like they got their butts kicked. And you're like, oh, was it busy for brunch? You guys have a good brunch service? Well, you know damn well they didn't have a good brunch service, but you still got to ask, right? The PM person coming in, let's say they're coming in at 3:00. Brunch service ends at 3:00, but they showed up a little bit early. What happens? The host comes back. I just sat 3:20 tops. They just walked in, right? Brunch is the only meal period where 3:20 tops are going to walk in 5 minutes before closing, and they're going to order mimosas, Benedicts, crab cakes. Half your menu's 86 because you thought you were closed. It's that kitchen curse. As soon as you start throwing everything away, that's exactly what they're going to order. Don't throw it away. That's what they're going to order. And you just walked in at 3 p.m. and you see this chaos. And you're like, I'll be right back. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette, because you know exactly that you're going to get sucked into this. Now you're put behind for dinner. Now dinner service for Sunday, it's typically, in a dirtier kitchen. It just has a different tempo. Sunday dinner service after brunch does feel different. It doesn't feel like your regular dinner services. It's almost like the music's off beat. So if you don't serve brunch right now, you're lucky. What you want to avoid is this conversation where the owner or the executive chef sits you down and says, I got a great idea. What do you think of brunch? You've been warned. You're going to love it as much as I do. Like I said, I could have listed 1,000 reasons why I don't like brunch. I don't know if you agree with me or not. Like I said, you're not going to change my mind. I'm speaking for the people today, those people that have to close and open and got screwed over for brunch, and all the mods came in and they want the egg white omelet with no oil, which, by the way, is almost impossible to make. If you've made an egg white omelet with no oil, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Everyone wants it their way. No one orders what's exactly on the menu. The brunch cooks are fast, right? Shout out to brunch cooks everywhere who hold it down, who know 100 ways to cook an egg and can interpret people that say, I want it over easy, but I want the egg yolks fully cooked. Shout out to those cooks right there that hold it down. Can I get my gluten-free toast? I notice you don't have avocado toast on the menu, but you have avocados. Can we just get that? It's like Burger King on brunch. They're going to make it their way, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. With all that being said, there's only one thing that's worse than brunch, and that's holiday brunch. All right, chefs, rant over. You know what to do. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe and the thumbs up button. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or anywhere else, Google, Amazon, make sure you leave 5 stars, nothing less than 5 stars. Go to chefspsa.com, go get the books. You can go get that new audiobook. I will see you next week. Hit the porno music.